Hello.
Long time.
I know it's been so long.
All right, welcome to the show.
Yes,
everybody.
Oh my gosh,
Today we have an
guys.
amazing show prepared.
Right now we have two guests that I was
Legends.
I was so excited I couldn't sleep.
Me neither.
Just because. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do the introduction for Barbara Moore. Barbara Moore.
The
Barbara Moore. She has her own podcast called The Barbara Moore Show. She is, her list goes on, but she was Miss December 1992 and Playboy's October 1993 cover model. I think she looks better now. This is incredible. We want to know all of her secrets. She was on Married with Children, Silk Stockings, Baywatch Nights, Blossom, Sex and the City, Nightstand, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, and I loved you on that. So fun. It's so fun to see your friends. And Tukin are
Tukin.
What is it?
Tukin.
Who? Oh, Tukin. I didn't see that, Barbara. I'm sorry.
It's a spoof on Taken.
I'm going to have to check. It's a spoof on Taken.
Tukin.
All of you fans out there are mad at me, but those are just some of her.
Hold on.
But the biggest.
Another Playmate, Jenny McCarthy, was married to the director of that movie.
Oh,
John Asher.
Yes. Well, it's
Asher.
Always in the family, guys. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
Broad range of print media.
Whoa, breaking news. What did I miss?
No,
You're just reading the script,
Dang
bro.
it, she's a ballroom champion. I want to talk about that.
No.
What about her ballroom dancing?
Yeah, I want Barbara to get up and do some ballroom.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Barbara, we're going to talk about her. We're just going to ask her things.
I know.
I'm talking about.
Welcome, Barbara Moore, to
welcome,
the show.
Barbara.
Oh, thank you.
And
I
to
won't
my
clap for myself.
right, we've got the Carrie Stevens. I'm sorry, I just have like a habit of saying the because we're legends.
She is the
we're playmates.
Carrie
Like, come on,
Stevens.
we're like
is.
the creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Miss Carrie Stevens.
Thank you for
Give us
having me.
your date and year, darling.
I am Miss June 1997.
Banging bitch right here.
Banging bitch. She's the rock and roll queen.
She's a rocking queen.
I remember.
Tell us about your show you have on Monsters of Rock. That's dope.
Yes, I am a on-air personality, a DJ for Monsters of Rock Radio. For all you metalheads out there, you would know what it is. I've been listening to Monsters of Rock since high school because I'm a total rocker chick. So it's like a dream come true for me to be working for them. And it's really awesome. It's been like 25 years because they started interviewing me when I was a Playmate, and we kind of just kept in touch.
You forged that
over
relationship
the years.
back
Like
then.
I've done interviews over and over, and then eventually they thought of me to actually be on air with my own show. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you were in my.
So
I have a friend.
tell our audience
that was in Third Eye Blind, Tony Frednelli, and she was in one of their videos.
Yeah, I was in Never
the
Let You
Third Eye-
Go. I was the girl
Yeah.
climbing the human chain of people. That was a
Wow.
great experience.
And you
Awesome
really
video.
do love rock.
Yes,
that's
like
like hard.
I've always
I'm an
associated that with
authentic
her.
rocker chick. I can't. You just, it's like most of my following is male because of Playboy anyway,
Yeah.
and now I have all the rockers. So I barely have any women following me. I'm like,
She's
please
rock
follow me if
royalty,
you have a
really.
vagina. Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah,
reinvented
so- yeah, so-
yourself, which
No, I was always
smart.
a rocker chick, but it was smart that, when I wrote my book, I have my book out, Unrated Revelations of a Rock and Roll
which
Centerfold.
I did read.
Yes, you did.
Very
Thank
well
you.
written.
It's so good.
yeah,
Revelation of a Rock and Roll Centerfold. It is such a great book.
Yeah. And I
Get
think
that
that was
on
a little
Amazon,
bit clever
people.
on my part because I did thank Monsters of Rock in my acknowledgments and sent them a copy. So that might have had a little something to do with this. And by the way, I did say a general thank you to of course, Hugh Hefner first and all of my Playmate sisters. I couldn't single any of you out because then someone would be mad at me. So I just thanked all.
I was
She
in it.
mentioned
Yeah, no,
me.
you're all
Me
in
too.
it.
We're all
You're
mentioned
at
in it,
different
Barb.
times
Yep.
mentioned in it.
Yep.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, we're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much. So this is a
This is fun.
total passion project and labor of love for Corinna and I. And this is the first time we've had the Playmates on, and we've got some PMOYs coming on after you ladies. And we're just really want to, we're here
This
to
is
talk about,
exciting because you're our first.
Yeah, you're the
Playmate
first
guest.
Playmates
We're
chosen.
special.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty good
And
friends.
I've been on Barbara's podcast. I think
Yeah.
it's beautiful how we all support each other.
Yes,
exactly. And I was
absolutely.
too. Yes, it's incredible. So those are some of the same questions we're going to ask.
So
We'll get right
first of
into
all,
it.
I want to know, discovered or submitted? Both of
Yes.
you. Barbara?
Submitted.
Submitted. Submitted. You? Submitted. No, tested. No.
Yeah, well, mine's weird. I had a boyfriend that found an ad that said Playmates wanted.
Oh, yeah. And then you talked to your mom. And
And
your
then
mom
I said,
yes.
Mom, when
And
you
you
told
were
me what
really
it
young,
was.
right? Weren't you
Yeah,
like
I was
Yeah, we were
18?
18. Corinna and
Still
I
in
were-
high
Your
school.
moms both wanted
Yeah, how
you
weird
to.
is that?
That is,
that?
that's odd.
And we were
It is
angry
odd.
with our mothers.
We
We're
have a
like,
different
what?
experience.
Because, and that's a whole other thing about the perception of Playboy. And here, all of us have the same positive experience with it. Like, I mean, not the same. We all have a different
Yeah, but we
experience.
have a
all
positive
All
experience.
positive.
positive.
So Barbara Moore was my buddy. They basically put me and Barbara together. So when I went in, she was December 92, January 1993. So we were roommates and we did all of our training and everything
And
together.
you were
And
I
we were
fell
fast
in
friends
love
from
with
the
you guys
very
when I
beginning.
first
Yeah.
met you. Remember, we met at, I think it was Anna Nicole Smith's
It was.
Playmate
It was
of the
her
Year
Playmate of the
party.
Year party.
And I have pictures of us. We were laughing. No one else
For
is
the
laughing.
second we met, we were like,
All we're
hysterical.
doing is laughing. And it was the same when I met Carrie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
Oh.
you just know you
no,
vibe. Like
we're in the
girls-
bathroom. She had me rolling when we were on Star
just look at you.
Island.
Yeah.
Oh
And,
my God, that
for
was
the
a
Oh my
Denver
God, that was the
Broncos.
most legendary
Oh
promo ever.
So we could
We're-
get into
we're gonna
promo
actually- we're
stuff,
actually
and we
gonna
didn't even
have
plan on
Carrie-
that. That'll be another episode.
Yeah,
oh my
we're gonna
God.
have Carrie
That
back
was
and go through the montage of
craziest,
photos.
The Playboy promotion I ever did. I remember
So
A
fun.
James called
helicopter.
me for another promotion,
yacht,
and I'm like,
yacht.
I'm still on
And
the
the
last
Denver
one. It was a
Broncos.
week
That's
later
funny.
because then I didn't leave.
You don't
It's
wanna
like,
leave.
you're
You were
supposed to
so
be there
mad
for
at me.
2
You're
nights.
like, really?
No,
I'm
the
in a
Broncos didn't
Ferrari
let
right
me
now.
leave.
yeah.
Remember,
That's in
she
your
read my
book.
book.
That's
Yeah.
in your
And
book.
then you fell in love.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I had to get home to my child because I was the only one with child then.
And
Good
you
child.
found out you're pregnant when you were visiting me.
Yes.
Oh my
I
gosh,
passed
no
out.
way.
She passed out in the bathroom on the
Shut
toilet.
up.
Yes. And then
Uh-huh,
we're
she
like,
was
I
dizzy.
think you're pregnant.
Who knew?
I mean, this was
Isn't
so
that
many
funny?
years ago.
So many years ago. Think about it. For us, it's been 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years.
Is
We
it
don't
really
wanna
now?
age
You're what,
ourselves, but
25?
it's true.
Hmm?
She was,
I was
no,
28.
she
was
was
It came out on my
later.
27.
28th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, but, so she was older. I mean, for
Yeah,
a
for a
playmate.
playmate, I was one of the oldest.
It's
Yeah,
so-
there wasn't too many
And
over
90
28.
Oh, on your
Yes.
28th birthday.
It came
That's
out on my
awesome.
28th
How cool. I didn't know
birthday.
that.
Yeah.
That's
And she and
interesting.
Hef
And it was
threw her
great because
party.
the playmate, the playmate of the year party, Victoria Silvstedt's playmate of the year party happened to be on my birthday. And so my issue came out on my
Oh,
birthday.
wow.
So it was already, so
like
I
party
kind of
time.
hijacked her party.
Yeah.
He Hef didn't throw me a party.
Oh.
It was just that she was from
It became your
she's from
birthday
Sweden,
party.
so no one really knew her. So I invited like all my friends. It became my party.
And you
That's
became really close to
hilarious.
her.
Yeah, and then she became
Carrie
one of my
took
best
over the
friends.
mansion for her
It's like, it's
birthday.
my party.
She's like, see the
It's
Playmate of the Year
my
party?
party.
Well, this Playmate of the Year can't speak English, so sing happy birthday to me. I'm kidding. No, she's beautiful. Victoria.
So,
sad.
Meant to be.
ladies, really the context of this show is, as you both know, is that this is our opportunity to pay homage to Hugh Hefner and the man, the mentor, the icon, the legend, our boss, and who he was. As we all know, media is nasty and ruthless these days. And there's a lot of, negative shit that's coming up now about Playboy, which is completely out of context because Playboy's history at the end of the day. Playboy's history. Hugh Hefner is history. And that is what we are here to do is to educate and entertain.
We're not
people.
canceling an icon.
We're not, this whole
that
cancel
enriched
culture
all of our
bullshit.
lives.
Yeah.
Okay,
Enriched
wait.
all of
what
our
if
lives.
somebody new, a new playmate, called you guys and said, "Can I be on your show?"
From this new second generation?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
I would. I'm the devil's advocate.
Well, they
here.
can come in and get complete
I
shade
would,
by
but,
me.
but I do. I understand where
Really?
Echo's coming
Fuck yeah.
from.
Some of them
that
are
Playboy
They're
died
not
with
playmates.
Hef.
They don't test. They don't do anything.
Okay.
They're professional models that get plucked from Elite, that get plucked from Ford.
So
they're not playmates. It's bullshit.
Back to the question, because it is a question. What was your experience like? I want to ask you guys.
Yeah.
What was your experience with Playboy?
And the first
like
time,
taking it back, how did you end up what made you want to submit? And what were your thoughts on Playboy?
I have this
people
down.
want to know this.
In a
Echo.
nutshell.
but as well as the first time you remember meeting
Yes.
Hef and what that experience
Okay.
was like.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was top notch, first class, the whole way. And when you are living in a relatively small city and you get picked up in a limo and you get
Right.
driven up to the mansion and they're treating you like you're just,
mind-blowing.
it just was, okay. How do the girls who don't get chosen deal with leaving that?
That's actually an interesting question. Corinna and I have talked about that.
I could not
You go
imagine
and
that.
test and then, nope, you're not.
And
I was local, so
you
I
were
never had that
local.
experience.
So, but we got to.
Oh,
I stayed
about-
at the mansion like 8 different times.
Yeah, I
back and
stayed
forth,
there for
and they
years.
put 2 playmates together, so they kill 2 birds
In
with
the
one stone. And so
bungalows.
I was December, she was January, so they put us together. You were only 18.
I know.
I was 24.
She
I
took
must
me
have
under her
seemed,
wing.
mature.
She said, "You need to trim that
Yeah.
bush."
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Yes, you're like you taught me about trimming.
But you guys were right after me. I was still the bushy bush. Nobody told me anything. I was
I
still
love
all
the
natural,
bush.
total bush. And then they started diminishing from you on until they were gone for a while.
Yeah.
I was
Did they-
landing
Oh my
strip.
gosh.
You were
you know,
landing
it's-
strip
yeah.
area for sure.
Because brunettes were landing strips. I
Not
could stay
necessarily
bushy because I was
brunettes,
blonde.
it was more the
strips.
time.
I had a
Oh my
blonde
gosh.
bush.
Yeah, it just,
It just
there was the
That's
style
so
at the
funny.
it's like
time.
technology. It just advances.
I'm
Like-
known for my bush.
But only a playmate would think of these things. Like how? Well, maybe a
They
porn star, but
colored
we don't.
it.
Well,
Oh,
they
yeah,
they
don't.
were bleaching mine. They're like, "You're bleaching. It's too dark." And I was like, I was 18. I was like, "What the fuck is going
But
on?"
mine was on fire. It needed a toner.
Your
Nice.
hee-haw
It
was on
was.
fire.
Oh, it was too bright. When it gets
Oh,
orangey,
like the
if you do the
orangey?
bad blonde and it's orangey, it happened down there.
Oh
So
my
Alexis
gosh.
put a toner on it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's awesome.
But it's not a blonde bush anymore.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
like not
It's more
there.
natural.
Barbara.
How about it, Miss Carrie? How was? Wait, so you were
Yes.
local, so you didn't go and stay at the mansion, but you went and tested West
no,
Coast.
I just went and tested. I just went to the offices and they did the Polaroids, and I got called
You
to
got
do the
approved, yeah.
not screen test, the actual test with
Yeah.
the real photographer Arnie and Alexis, and then they just never let me leave. They were
They
like,
didn't.
"Can you just stay?" And they're like,
They
a month
scooped her
later,
up.
I just kept shooting and shooting and
Yeah.
shooting.
They do.
And then I remember the last
Yeah.
day of my shoot of small camera, and
Small
Lane,
camera.
the
I haven't
stylist,
heard that in a while.
said to Arnie, "Is she even accepted yet?" And I was like, "Oh fuck,"
You're like,
because I got to shop for a
Oh,
month and I'm not a playmate. And then Arnie picked up the phone. I guess he called the mansion and he hung up and he said, "Hef said that she's approved with flying colors or something like that."
Yes,
So
that's
I
a
was
great
like,
acknowledgement.
Yes.
Fun.
well, that
Good
would have
job.
sucked if after a month he said no. But yeah, he said
And
yes
it
right away.
does for some people, though.
When you first met Hef, were you nervous? What were?
Oh,
what were both
I
of you?
still. Her story is completely different than mine.
Yeah, but that's the
I
beauty of it.
was
Yes, the beauty of it.
intimidated by him. It made me nervous
Really?
when he would come into the room. I said, "Hi, I'm Barbara," and he's like, "I know who you are." He was just so
love
sweet, but
it.
it was just like that, hi and bye and thank you, and he's just really was gentle.
Oh, the
though.
kindest man.
Kind,
That's
so
you
kind. Good
remember
to my
that
family.
moment? What was the moment like? I love asking people this when you first met Hef. That
I was
moment.
sitting there in the room where you eat breakfast that day
the med room.
room. Yes.
Mhm.
And he just came in. And so Anna Nicole Smith was sitting there.
She was staying in the
same,
guest house.
So it was the same for me. And that's funny because obviously we were right there with each other.
Mhm.
And one year, but all the same playmates at that time, same story. I was with Anna Nicole Smith in the kitchen, in the day room.
At that time, she was known as Vicky Smith.
Vicky
Yes.
Smith. And I'm sitting there with her, and he comes in and just starts talking to us. And I remember that same, wow, I just met Hugh Hefner for the first time, but I've been,
You were there.
I've been there. And anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
but that happened too. And he just walks in so nonchalantly, and you
So
just
sweet.
think, well, it is his house. He just walks around.
Totally relaxed.
It is a real weird phenomenon that this
Yes.
lasted so many years. Not one bad thing was ever
No.
said. Well,
Not
said,
until
yes.
Holly
But
Madison
wasn't
came
those
out and had
people-
a
But wasn't he
horrible
so
situation.
creepy
But
in
not
that
for many
moment?
Playmates.
Wasn't he so creepy in that
Oh
moment?
God, he was. It
kidding.
was so
I'm
scary.
totally joking.
Right.
Oh.
No,
But I wanted to
never
tell you
got
guys
creep
something.
factor
What?
ever. I
Okay.
never did.
About
I
how
just
I
hate when
became
people
one,
say
because I
that.
didn't answer that question. How I became one.
Yes,
Okay.
please answer.
My dad had these Playboys around, and I, like everybody, would just look at them, and I was hoping that I would grow to become like one of them. Because I really wanted to be a Playmate since I was
You mean like-
12 years old, since I saw that magazine.
Okay.
I wanted to be one. But I didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to grow. I mean, I was 11. So, but I did. And
yes,
so
you
I
did.
called them, and how I did it is, this is true. I looked them up in the yellow pages, and people think I'm kidding, but that's how we
Oh,
did
that's
things.
right. She did look it up in the yellow pages.
That's how we did things
How
back then. And I
cute.
remember I could have
Love
called the
that.
Chicago office or the LA, and I thought, well, what if I end up in Chicago and then I have to live there? I just remember that going through my mind. I want to live in Beverly Hills. That's what I said
And
to
you
myself.
did.
That's incredible.
You made that dream.
But
come
I
true.
flew in there. We didn't have to do that Polaroid test. I don't know how you guys dealt with
You
that,
were
because
home.
you don't know how those Polaroids are going to turn out.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I got to
don't
send
know.
in whatever I wanted to send in, making sure it was good stuff. And I knew there might be a chance that I wasn't going to make it. So I shot with a photographer in Miami, not in Nashville, Tennessee, because I didn't want any nude photos getting out of me. I only wanted to do nudity if it was Playboy,
Yes.
nothing else.
Mhm.
So that
The
that is
absolute
really the
echelon.
story.
Beauty of
That's
it.
it.
And
That's the
Hef
story.
was very adamant on that.
And he was married. See, he was married
Yeah,
to
it was
Kimberly.
a different time when he
There's
was married with
member
Kimberly.
Cooper.
Yeah, they
And
were
the
right there.
babies.
high
We used
chair.
to look at them. Remember sleeping in the bungalows and watching them in their cribs? I know it sounds, I told Cooper at the last Playmate of the Year party, I'm like, it sounds creepy, but I was comforted and could go to sleep watching them in their cribs.
So sweet.
Do you remember that?
I didn't watch them in
well,
the crib.
because I guess I am a stalker, but
Yeah,
I would, because
I don't
of the
recall that.
security. You could
Oh,
turn
wait, and the
on to those
security,
television. You know how you could call?
Oh.
You could call security and say, I would like to watch Barbara Moore's Playmate video. You could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But I remember turning the channel, and you could see the front gate, different squares of, where the cameras
Mhm.
were. And two of the cameras, I knew the channel to watch the babies, because they could turn that on in any screen in the mansion, because him being so high profile. I never thought about this until years later. I'm like,
Were
my
you
goodness.
in the cottage, the little cottage?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the bungalow.
Some people don't know what that is,
The
like the ones that
cottages.
stayed in the house. But we didn't, and that cottage was so cool.
I
He
loved
built that
it.
for
I
Barbie
used to call
Benton.
the butlers
Um,
in, but anyway,
yeah.
not about. It was funny. Well, that's
Anyway.
another story. That's a
Miss
story for the
Miss
butlers.
Carrie,
But
what
yes,
about you?
Carrie.
Was that something like you thought about your whole life?
No, not at all. I just wanted to do it as a stepping stone for my acting career because I saw I was an actress, 10 years before 9. I don't know. I started going to acting classes at 19 and, I really wasn't getting anywhere. And then I was working as a hostess, getting, in a coat check girl. And I would see like all these playmates coming in. Even Hef came in one night, and Jenny McCarthy, Pamela Anderson, Heidi Mark. I would see, and I just started to, I don't know. I just started
You're like, if they can be a playmate,
Yeah,
I could be a
Carmelite
playmate.
lecturer was
Yep.
was blowing up.
Yep.
No, and I was always in these auditions with all these hot girls,
Mhm.
and I was like, so I got in really good shape. It took me like 4 months, and then I had an audition to play, the hot girl, the one line on a series called Polly. That was Polly Shore's show on CBS, and I just told myself, if I can book this role, I'm ready to try out for Playmate. And I got the part, and that's when I said I'm ready, and I went in and tried for Playmate and got it.
Meant
And
to be.
crushed it. And you and Hef were very, very good friends. You guys had a really special relationship. Tell us about that, because that's
Yeah, she
different
was
from
even-
all of,
even
you
with
know,
your
like we just
son.
knew him in passing.
Yeah,
So-
was always will be family to
Yeah.
my son and I. And
Like
are
your
you gonna
son
make me
grew
cry?
up there.
Oh.
Yeah,
Going to the mansion.
Well, Hef and I met. I didn't know it yet, but he and Kimberly were breaking up, and I got invited after my centerfold to go have dinner at the mansion. Marilyn Grabowski, the editor, invited me, and she warned me, make sure you say hello to Kimberly first before Hef.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was like really nervous about that. Like I
yeah.
didn't want to, do anything wrong. And when I got there, it was the big buffet outside by the pool.
Sunday dinner.
Yes, and I came walking up. Everyone was already seated, and Hef stood up and put his hand out, and I was like, oh. Damn, like I was supposed to say hi to Kim first.
You're like, oh,
goodness. Oh no.
And then she was
Do I
really
shake it or do I
nice.
run?
No, she
Oh.
invited me to sit down next to her.
She was
Yeah.
lovely.
And then she kept saying, oh, you and I could be sisters. I don't think we look like, but she is beautiful. And she was really nice. And then it was not until many, many months, I don't remember exactly, but many, many months later that I was at, it was called Barfly it was Barfly on Sunset. And I was there having dinner with somebody, and Dr. Saginaw, Mark Saginaw, came up to me and said, that he's there with Hef and they'd like me to come over and sit down with him.
Nice.
And then I did, and Hef starts telling me how upset his wife is going to be that I'm there with him. And I was like, what? Because I just was randomly at the same restaurant. And he said, she's been accusing me of, having an affair with you.
With
And
you particularly?
Yes, he
Oh,
told.
wow.
And my
No.
jaw dropped because I just wanted to be Playmate of the Year. Okay.
Oh.
And I went, at that
Darn.
moment, I was like, fuck. I'm definitely not going to be Playmate of the Year if his wife hates me. And then
Kimberly.
he said, well, the problem is I want the accusations to be true. And I'm
Oh.
like,
Wow.
Love
my
it.
God.
She-
Yeah, so I was
she knew.
completely
She
shocked.
knew.
And yes, he
Wow.
told me that at that Playmate of the Year party, Victoria's Playmate of the Year luncheon, he told me that he was so overtaken by the sight of me that he had to go upstairs to the bedroom and watch me through the window.
No way.
Yes.
Oh my God,
Wow.
that's
Yeah,
so
he
sweet.
said-
I
Yes,
love
well,
that.
It is.
He
was
thought I
such a
looked like Barbie
romantic.
Benton.
Yes.
And the more he got to know me, he said, you talk like Barbie. You like
Wow.
the same things as
And I
Barbie.
told her that.
You like
Barbie,
traveling
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Barbie. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I reminded him of
She
Barbie,
does.
so he
You
had a
do
little...
I
have
could
a
see that, yeah.
similarity.
I told her this.
And
Yes.
yeah, so then, we had a very special friendship, and it wasn't anything sexual. He would come to my house. We'd go out for dinner. Sometimes I'd bring friends. We'd meet his friends. His bodyguards were always with us, and it was not what you'd think. Like it wasn't that
Exactly.
guy with 7
But didn't you
girlfriends. He
sleep
never
with
treated
him
me that
to
way.
get into the magazine?
Yeah, didn't we all have sex with Hef to be a Playmate?
But didn't you have to?
Yeah. So that's like the first question everybody asks. Well, did you sleep with him? And
yes,
it's like,
why
no,
is
that wasn't part of the deal.
I did,
But
16 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
there
you
you go.
go.
She's like, but I wanted to.
Right here, right here
It
on
just-
my terms, because I
16
wanted to
years
give
later
it. I
on my
wanted to.
terms.
See what it's like.
I wanted to
Give it
I had
give
always
it a shot.
regretted not taking him up on having a relationship because he's so loving and kind. And every time, I'd break up with some asshole, I'd say, I should have given Hef a chance. But then again, I'm like, well, I don't want to share him with,
Right.
a harem of girls. And, I'm a one-on-one person. And he offered many times to, let go of that life for me, but I didn't quite believe it. And I'm not sure he would have. And the whole thing just felt too overwhelming. But after he broke up with Holly, I said to him one night, I said, I'm sorry, I heard what happened. I said, if you need a friend, I'm here for you. And so he called the next day and things went from there. And then I decided to give it a try. And because I love him, I absolutely love him.
absolutely.
And my son thinks of him as a surrogate dad. And, I mean, we were welcome there 24/7 anytime we wanted. It was our second home. And
that's a very unique experience to be able to just have
very
access
special.
to the mansion
I realized how
anytime,
special
and his
that was. And
kindness.
yeah, my son and I have great memories. But anyway, I woke up in his silk pajamas and I heard like butlers and valet. I was just so overwhelmed that I just freaked out and like, well, he was sleeping and put my clothes on and left. And the next night he called and asked me out, and I lied and said I couldn't get a babysitter. And I know that he knew I was lying because, but the thing is, it's like we remained friends after that forever.
Right.
I mean, he understood, it's just not, I loved him, but the lifestyle was just not for me.
Right.
And, but my heart like hurts as I'm telling you this because I really, really, truly did love the man. And I sent him so many letters expressing that. And I'm so glad that I did. He loved letters.
Yes, he did.
And he
would keep everything.
I knew that he was so much older than me. And I knew, that I wouldn't be able to probably one day say it. So I have no regrets. I've said everything to him in writing, and we were very close. And I went. And speaking of Holly, I don't want to get too negative here, but he did love her and care about her.
Did.
And because I offered to be his friend through that, he talked to me a lot about that breakup and about her depression and how he tried to help her, through that depression. And then when I read her book, which I liked her, by the way, until I read her book.
Exactly, me too.
Yeah, and then she was saying that Hef didn't care about her or acknowledge her depression at all. And I'm like, well, that's funny
vision.
Because I remember him telling me about it, and why would he tell me about it if he didn't care?
Right.
So that's now an outlier. Period.
Yeah,
I think
Good
people
for
don't.
you.
Nobody believes her.
No, yeah. I mean, it's
I don't
the
think
one
so.
and only
No,
person
and I
out there
think-
that speaks negatively about Hef, and then we have this collective.
And
push
in
of
my book,
everybody
I
else.
never
legion of
in my book
fans
I
that are
purposely
listening
I
to
did not
this.
say I had sex with Hef ever in my book because it was originally in there. And then when I read the chapter back to myself, I thought it takes away from the loving friendship.
You're beautiful.
Yes.
And you're not a kisser and
Good.
teller.
Good.
And that's not what you're
Well,
going to place.
Honestly, I don't mind talking about it in an interview where you can hear my tone and I can explain it the right way. But in my book, it seemed like the beauty of our friendship was taken away by like sex. Like it took away from the true love that
you
was
feel like
there.
it overshadowed it because you said
Yeah,
that you had
yeah.
sex with
It
him
sounded
and people right away
it read
go to
some
that.
things just read differently. It read smutty. Like when I'm telling you about it, you understand that I did it because I loved him and I wanted to just try it out to see if we could have a relationship after all those years. And it just didn't feel right to me. It felt scary, and it felt like we were just better as friends. But that's why I did it, not because I wanted to get laid, because
and it was your choice.
we were already friends for 16 years. And that's another myth. He doesn't just like 18, 20-year-olds. I was probably already 45 at that point.
Or blondes. Everybody thinks he just likes blondes.
I just from what I've witnessed, and I don't know, I wasn't close and in there like you guys were. We had a friendship. I loved Hef, and I know that Hef loved me.
He loved you.
And at the end of the day, it saddens me because why? I mean, I'm sure these publishers are pushing. There has to be, you have to have negativity to push it, but it makes me
I'm so
very
glad I self-published my book because I had been shopping it to publishers, and they all wanted not just about Hef, but my other relationships. They wanted
the dirty details.
And I had told them things that they wanted them in there. But I just said, I'm not writing this to destroy anybody.
Exactly.
I'm writing it just to tell the story of my life, which I think is interesting enough on its own. I'm not writing it with any kind of revenge. It's just my story. Take it or leave it, but I'm not doing it to ruin anybody. I think it's entertaining enough without hurting anyone, and I refused to. I did it my way, and I'm very proud of it.
I laughed out loud
I'm
many
very
times.
proud of you.
Many times I laughed out loud.
enjoyed the
And
book.
I cried at the end. I did. I mean,
Aww.
I wrote that to you. I said, my eyes
she was
are
texting
welled
me
up
crying.
with
Nice.
tears.
I
It just was
can't-
so
I-
well written. She's a
I
great
get
writer.
bored with biographies. I'm just being honest. There are some decent ones. Hers, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. It was that entertaining. You've had a very entertaining life, and it hasn't been an easy life. And to me, that's beautiful. And that's another beautiful gift, I think, getting back to Hef, that he gave a lot of people that are biting the hand that fed them,
Mm-hmm.
that wouldn't quite frankly be a piss in the wind
Mm-hmm.
Well,
without
she
the
didn't get
fame
everything,
that they
though.
received
She got nothing. That's why
because
she's-
of Hef.
yeah.
So I think it's beautiful that you
Yeah,
you
thank
know,
you
that-
for sharing that
Yes.
story.
Thank
I didn't
you,
know
Carrie.
any of that. So
The
thank
real-
you.
Because I don't
I
tell
appreciate
anybody. I
that.
talked about it on Barbara's podcast, and that's the first time
I mean, as
I've
you
ever talked
shouldn't,
about
you
it.
know,
And I'm,
that's
but I'm
yours.
And everyone
comfortable
has
with you
their
playmates
truth.
sharing the story, but
Yeah.
that's the only other time I've talked about it publicly is on
I love
Barbara's
truth,
show.
no matter what it is, no matter if I agree or disagree, no matter if it's something, I'm not judging anyone. But at the end of the day, I don't like when people judge. It pisses me off.
Oh, I can't stand judgy
and
people.
fake self-righteousness. That's an ugly thing.
And you know
in
what I
any
do
book.
because I'm a
Fake
bitch?
self-righteousness.
Whenever anybody, and I know you've seen me do this, whenever anybody says anything remotely nasty to me, like, oh, you must love attention or you're a slutty playmate, on Twitter, I always, because you can do nudity on Twitter, I always take one of my
I didn't
nude
know
Playboy
that.
pictures and I post that with the middle finger. That's my response to everything.
I love
Oh,
it.
I know
Carrie,
how
that's
Hef
cute.
could have fixed Holly's depression.
What?
Made her a Playboy Playmate.
Yeah, that was never going to happen. She was not up to par
Okay,
ever.
so what do you guys think was
Ouch.
going down
Ouch.
with
You're
Okay,
that?
no, I don't even want to go
I
into that because
actually
that's a
asked
whole
Hef
other.
once. I asked him and
I
he
would love to have
laughed.
What,
one.
really?
I asked him, I was like, because you know all his girlfriends, they go in looking one way and then they come out looking beautiful. And
Because they don't feel
No,
like a
I-
playmate.
Because
No,
he
I
pays
joked
for
with him
whatever
once.
they
I
want.
said, no, I said to him, I said, do you have like a secret attic or something? Like, what are you doing up there in the
Yeah.
attic? Like to transform these girls that you take in. And he knew what I meant.
Surgery.
Because he
funny.
gets them all new
well, they
teeth
asked.
and
I mean, they
noses.
gotta want
if
to
they
be.
wanted to be
Oh,
there, they
they all-
asked
yeah.
and they got in there. So okay,
He never forced anyone
we
to do
always
anything.
ask this question.
I'm gonna but let's wait for a minute.
Okay.
So in 2016, there was a complete overhaul of the magazine from bottom to the top, right down to making Playboy.com a work-friendly website, right? That included the unveiling of the March 2016 issue that was no nudity.
Which ruined
What
the magazine.
did you
It
guys
almost,
think
it
about
almost
that
bankrupt-
when that
it basically
occurred?
bankrupted them.
What did
Just
you
everything.
think?
What was
Carrie
it?
and I went to
Did
the
your
party
jaw
where we
hit the floor?
Carrie,
It
do
was
you
like,
remember?
what the-
I
felt
stayed
bad
with you,
for
and
those
we
girls.
went to that party.
Like,
It was
what's
the after.
special about
Who's
it?
running the company?
What's her
Who
name?
thought that it would be?
I
That was
cannot think of her
stupid.
name right now.
Yeah, on
The-
Sunset.
Yes,
Yes, I
and
remember
we
that.
sat down, and that was my idea. I said that. I go, you know what would be really unique that might turn heads is it will definitely
So
get
you ruined the
attention.
company, Corinna? Is that what you're
No,
telling
I
us?
talked to the CEO. What's his name?
Yeah, Scott Barton.
Yes,
Not
and
Scott
we
Barton,
had
sorry,
this.
he was
It was a real
publicity.
conversation at
Scott.
Cooper's Bar. That
Whoa.
bar that was
To
Cooper's.
not
Yeah,
do
that's why
nudity?
And
Cooper
I
walked
said,
away
you
from
know,
the
I'm not
company
kidding.
because it was a bad idea.
It was a private conversation, and I'm not. Here I'm taking credit for the downfall of Playboy. No, but I did. I said, you know what would really turn heads and be something that everybody will be like, what? Is if you say that Playboy is no longer a nude magazine, which makes no sense. But I mean,
So,
They said it was
okay. So
because
that
they
goes
needed
back to,
advertising.
but like
that
the
goes-
older,
that
I
goes
was
back-
thinking the older
that
centerfolds
goes back to
that weren't,
that
they
goes
were
back
clothed
to-
and then just peeping a little bit. I'm like, why not go back to that now that we're bored with all of this other, Instagram and everything else? Because the images are still beautiful and you still have the interactive folding it out. Anyway, it was a conversation they
It
probably
just
don't
goes
remember.
Well, I'm proud I
We
was a
had
part of it when it was.
Me too.
Yeah.
It makes us more special.
It
I
was-
feel I don't mind that it's not the same because that makes us even
I
more
don't.
iconic.
I don't even know it
I mean,
exists
I don't even
anymore.
exactly.
I actually,
It's like, how can they even call it Playboy?
I don't
It's
even
not.
follow them on Instagram.
All it is a
The
bunny
day
head
that
now
they
for marketing.
posted a man in a one-piece silver, like catsuit, a man with bunny ears on and a spandex silver
Right.
cat. I said, I can't look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This
done.
anymore. Have to
Done.
rolling over in his grave. I can't look.
Yeah.
Yeah. done.
And I mean, like, what? Okay, okay. It's the climate of our times, but
But
I'm sorry, you
they're
cannot
following though.
have-
Like Hef was a leader.
yes,
You know,
exactly.
He was a groundbreaking,
exactly.
unique.
They're going along with the
Yes.
climate of the times instead of
Yeah,
standing
but when
strong.
you're that's
and,
not,
and
like
standing
but it's
Hef
not
true to the
authentic.
brand.
You
Like,
know,
what bothers
it's
you,
not.
though?
It's not authentic. You know
What
what I mean?
bothers you?
Yes,
It's
and
like
that,
size.
which proves that he really was I
Well, when you
hate
try
to say
to follow
caboose,
the
but he
trends
was
and do
the
what
one
everybody
that
else is doing,
Leader.
There's
you know,
one.
then
One.
there's
Sometimes there's
nothing
one. That's
intelligent
an
about
icon.
that.
Thank
you
God.
know, You're
one.
not
No one
leader.
else could do it. No
Thank
one else could fill
God.
the shoes. No one else can do that. What he did. We've talked to so many people that worked closely with him for years and years
30,
and years
40, 50 years at the company.
and said they went on to do great things. And this is
Mhm.
what's so exciting because here was Hef. I mean, none of the magazines, nude or not, could hold a candle to the detail, to the
Right.
the standard.
It was just the echelon.
bar.
It was like everything was top notch about it. And
But it was
no
him.
expense spared.
He saw
Yes.
what American males
needed in the 50s and then in the 60s.
and knew,
he
and that does make us feel
Yes.
special because I'm sorry, but millions of people wanted to see these centerfolds.
So
But he knew.
back
he
to
knew.
what you
You
said
know what I mean?
earlier. Why
That's-
would
Sorry.
you want to have the second generation
excited.
Playmates on here? What would you do? I just would laugh at them. Like it's a
Just
joke. How can you call
because
yourself a
I
Playmate?
They don't have any stories.
I
so
have
why
no
would you have them on?
stories. And
I
they're-
want
what
to
would
know
they talk about?
what they think. Do they know?
They
No,
don't, right?
I know it
people
bothers
like
the fuck
this
out of me. Excuse my
do
language.
Think of them.
But what bothers me, and I think you've seen my tweets, I don't know. But what pisses me off is that every girl that spreads her legs and shows her body now calls herself a Playmate. And I always call them
What?
on it.
Are you serious?
Yes, they like look at their profiles. They're like Playmate. Da, da, da. I'm like, you're not a
Right.
Playmate.
Yeah,
Like,
what's
I
your
call-
year and month?
I call them
Yeah.
right out and like get in fights with people, but I
Good.
don't give a shit.
I like
No.
doing
No,
that
because
too.
it's an honor that we earned. There's
Yes.
12
Yes.
a year,
Yes.
and you can't just
500
advertise
and
yourself as a
something
Playmate
total
when
in
you're
the-
not a Playmate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a lot more women to ratio than men
Mhm.
at the mansion. I mean, how nice of Hef to do that for,
Mhm.
the men.
It's
So there was like
a
6 women to
sisterhood.
every one man.
Well,
did you guys know he did that?
I did.
Oh, I thought
from
that
you,
was great.
you told me that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good because he
it
got
was
that
nice
idea
of him
from
to
the
invite
war.
a few to the party. He probably didn't
Because
want
there was
to.
He
always
loved our
women.
military. He was so pro-military and
Yes.
so pro. But I'm going to ask as we wind this down. With you, Barbara, 3 words that describe Hef.
Gentle.
Oh my god! I thought you said genital. I've been sitting.
Oh.
No, I've been like sitting here shocked. Like, did I just
Wow.
hear that? And then I'm like,
She's like, I'm out of here.
Oh my God.
Okay,
I would
gentle.
say warm and inviting, but I'll just go with warm. And I have to say intimidating because I know it's weird, but I think
No, I could see that.
I am
That's a good-
shy.
yeah.
When something is so very, very important to me, I don't want to mess up with that person. Then I kind of clam up a little bit. I
like a
wish I could
reverential-
be more like you. But
Nobody
not-
really
I have
knows
the most
the truth.
beautiful
Come on.
letters from him. Well, I'm
love
sure he
Barbara.
did, but
No,
But
he
I
did.
had, like,
I want to have sex.
I'm sure he wanted to have sex with you. Of course he did. You're
And-
hot, but I know I have the most beautiful letters. I saved everything, and I even have like the card he sent me when my son was born. He sent me a card to congratulate me. I have a letter from him when he found out
Yeah, haven't
I
you
was
kept
pregnant.
everything?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Me
said that
too.
he has mixed feelings about me being pregnant, but if I'm happy, he's happy.
Aw.
I never asked him what that meant.
So what about you? 3 words.
Yeah, 3 words.
Oh, like here I am. Blah blah blah. blah. 3 words. Wow. Brilliant.
Yep.
Brave
Like that. That's the first time I
and romantic.
heard that. Good ones.
Yeah.
I like that a lot,
Very
Carrie.
Good,
Excellent.
good.
Wow, yeah. And if there's anything that you could say to Hef,
Had you had the
Had
chance
you
when
had
he
the
was alive,
chance
or
when he-
in memoriam,
or in memoriam, what would you like to say?
I
to
know
him?
that I said it all before.
yeah, you definitely.
Yeah,
had
I
your
know
platform
because-
to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
so.
Because I in writing, I've many times over the years told
That's
him
awesome.
how much I love him and what a difference he made in my life and in my son's life. And I know exactly why he told me. I mean, I was there through my pregnancy when I was abandoned pregnant. And then, and in the beginning, I'd always be invited for, weekends. And I always, it was difficult because I had a kid and had to get a babysitter. And then one day Mary called me and she said, no need to ask
You're on the list.
Yeah, you are 24/7 with your son. Welcome here.
Wow,
You never
that's
have to call and
amazing.
ask. And I was invited to every Christmas, every Thanksgiving. He let
So
me
the intimate.
he let me bring my family, my dad, my mom, and my boyfriends when I had them. And he treated me and my son like family. And I think, even though he never said this to me, it was because he felt for me because I was a single mom and my son got abandoned by his father. And I think that I just had I think that was his way of loving me and caring about me to include me in his family.
Right.
So yeah, don't make me cry.
Barbara.
I've gotten this far.
Is there
We're almost done.
anything
I didn't cry yet.
Oh, we
Have
have
you
cried.
had the chance to tell him?
I would just like to say, Hef, I'm so sorry I crawled on the bar that one night.
I'm so sorry I got banned.
We need to have Playmate Confessions of the Mansion. I used to steal his cookies, his special cookies.
Oh.
And
They were
I got
special.
the recipe finally. But anyway, remember those oatmeal? They were Hef's special oatmeal cookies.
I don't
They were his.
remember
You weren't allowed to
that.
open the drawer. I used to sneak the heck out of
I
them.
probably took them by accident too.
They're
I'm sorry for
delicious.
getting on the bar, but I do have a really great picture of it.
Yeah, you do.
It was a great photo op.
We had some fun.
And I was wild, but thank you for giving me so much work though around the world.
Yeah.
I didn't mess that one up. But just that, and thank you
Just
for
thank
being nice
you.
to my mom and my dad and my brother. He
It's
you know,
just a
wasn't like
lovely
open
human
door
being.
policy
at my
for
Playmate
them,
of the
but
Year party. You're right.
oh, he came to my birthday party too.
Embrace
Yes,
everyone.
when he first was divorced, because weren't we talking about the '90s Playmates? How he said these women are more special to me because
the 90s.
some of them I couldn't even talk to because he was married, and there were a lot of rules that he had to go by. And wouldn't that be funny if when you sat by Kimberly on that first meeting, when she said, "Oh, you look like me," if you would have said, "Oh, everybody says I look like Barbie Benton."
when we have Christina
Wouldn't that be
Leardini on,
funny?
I have to tell you.
But just
Yeah,
innocently, because everybody knows that was like a very, very serious relationship for him. That, and
Well, they were
and
married for
you-
10 years, yeah.
You do
And he
look
told
like
me
her.
that he never cheated on her. He told me he was loyal to her.
He did.
for
He
10
was.
years.
And
He
she
was.
does
She's
look like
yeah.
her. And I said, Carrie, one day, I go, you look so much like Barbie Benton. And she goes, Huff. We'd always say that. But you really do. And you do talk like her. I've met her. I've met her when I was this big. I went
she
to the
was
Playmate of the
bubbly,
Year party. I was
super bubbly.
pregnant.
She is.
All right.
still.
And I was
right,
laughed
ladies,
at.
I know Carrie's got to run.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
thank
are
you
we done?
so
Thank you,
very
ladies.
much
I
already
know
said
this went fast.
goodbye
We'll do it
for
again.
joining us.
We'll
Are
do
we
it
on
again.
camera?
Yeah, you're on camera. So
Oh.
go ahead and
Bye.
plug anything you want.
The Barbara Moore Show.
Yep.
I was working on Life, Laughter, Happiness podcast, still doing that. But
Okay.
now I have the Barbara Moore Show where you can see me. So it'll be on Roku TV, by the way.
Carrie?
I have so much to promote. First of all, my book, Unrated Revelations of a Rock and Roll Centerfold. You can get signed copies on my website, carriestevens.com. And there's also links there to find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and everywhere else. And my father's a scientist. We have a weight loss anti-aging product called Skinny Snacks. So that's skinnysnacks.net. StayYoungAndSkinny.com also will lead you there. And every Thursday, and this week I'll be on again Sunday as well. I am a DJ on the Monsters of Rock. So you get the Dash Radio app, and then you choose Monsters of Rock. And I even wake up and say to my Alexa, play the station
Okay.
Monsters of Rock on Dash Radio.
Nice.
And
Can we call in and talk to you?
Can we?
not yet.
call
but
in?
Echo
eventually,
will call
we're talking
in,
about having
do
me
her
to host.
character.
Like right now, I'm just DJing, but we're probably
Can I
gonna
call
have
in
to
and
do like
sing?
a love sex advice show. Anytime
You guys do that to her.
Yeah, you'll all have to come on and be guests on my show.
yeah.
Yeah, they just told me this
All right.
week that I'm
So
allowed to
great.
do that. So I'm excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Yes,
congratulations.
congratulations.
Ladies, thank you
Both
so
of you.
much. We
Thank
love you,
you.
love you, love
We
you.
love
To our
you.
audience, thank you
This-
so much for watching.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I'm Echo.
It was fun.
I'm Corinna.
Now, where are we
And
going?
this
We have our
is
hair
The
and makeup
Playmate
done.
Chronicles.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right.